This conference will now be recorded.
Let me ask you on a basic question, team here. See here, it's the same class. Able to see, right? See, for understanding purpose, let me give system.out.println. This is 0 parameter, right? No parameters. And this is 1 parameter. This is 2 parameter. This is with string parameter, right? Here, to execute this all methods, let me remove this class also. Okay. Let me remove this all the stuff. This is a plus b parameter. This is okay. Let me give this one. This is add method with 0 parameter, right? And this is add method with 2 parameter. This is add method with 3 parameters. This is add method with 4 parameters. Or else, to avoid confusion, let me remove this one, 4 method, 4 parameters. See here, let me remove this also. See team, see, to execute all the methods, so now I have a class called A. Inside class, I have a overloaded methods. Add with 0 parameter, add method with 2 parameter, add method with 3 parameter. Here, to execute all methods, what I'm doing? First of all, I'm creating object with object reference. I'm calling add with 0 parameters, add with 2 parameters, because I'm supplying 2 parameters. If I'm supplying 2 parameters, program will recognize add method with 2 parameters. Yes or no? 8th line. So in 22 line, I'm supplying 3 parameters. I'm calling add method with object reference. Now the program will recognize. So I have to execute add method which is having 3 parameters. Yes or no? Getting what I'm saying? See, the program, the execution always depends upon your parameters. So if you supply the parameters, it will execute the related method which is having the same parameters. Yes or no? Observe team. Let me execute. Run as Java application. Now it will execute all methods and it will give 0 parameters, 2 parameters, 3 parameters. Yes or no? Or else you can give like this int a, 1 parameter, 1, 2, 3. Now to execute all the methods, I'm calling each and every method by supplying the parameters based on input, right? Sorry, 3 parameters, 2 parameters, 1 parameters, right? See, and executing all methods. Now tell me, so can I execute all method with single line? Is there any way? Just think. I want to execute all 3 above methods with single statement so that I can optimize the code. Please ping me. If you have any idea, please ping me. I want to execute all the methods with single statement, with single line. Any idea? Any approach? Shweta garu, any idea? Yes, simple thing, ma'am. Simple requirement. Now I want to avoid these two lines. I want to avoid the extra writing these two lines, 21 and 22. So I would like to execute with single line. Any idea? Up to now, what are the concepts we have discussed? Based on the concept, getting any idea? I want to execute all three add methods by calling a simple method, single method. See here, team. See, so this is my single parameter add method. Now try to call add method inside my single parameter add method inside this one. Clear, right? Just I am trying to call add method which is having a double parameter inside a single parameter. Inside double parameter, I'd like to call add method which is having triple parameter. Now this time we have to pass three parameters. Now observe the output, team. See and comment out this one. Calling double parameter, calling triple parameter. Simple. Now anyway, I want to execute these three methods, but I'm executing with single line. First of all, it will go to the add method which is having single parameter. Inside single parameter, I am calling again add method with double parameter. Now it is coming to the add method with double parameter. Inside double parameter, I am calling triple parameter add method. Remember, team, this is somewhat a little typical here. Just try to observe code, and based on this, we'll discuss one more topic. Based on this one, we'll discuss one more topic. Okay. And now inheritance. Yeah. Now let me create one more class here. My class name is, let me give B. Right? See here, B is a class, and in this B class I have a public void test B method. System.out.println. This is a method of test B class test method. What I have to do if I want to execute this program? Now I want to execute test B method. What I have to do? What are the steps I have to follow? Anyone? Okay, first of all, we should have a main method. Very good. Okay, now I have a main method. And next step, object, exactly. So let me create object pb is equal to new of b, because the syntax is class name, object name is equal to class name. Now with object reference, I can call my test b method, right? Observe, run as Java application, nothing great. Just we have taken a class, B class. Now B class having a method, test method. If I want to execute this test method, I should have a main method. Inside main method, create an object and call the method whatever you want. Now observing, I have a class called A. Inside my class, I'm having a method called, this is a test A now, right? Now observing, I have a, I'm getting error here. Type is already different. Okay, there is already class here. So, okay, no problem. Let me create class C. Already defined. Okay, let me create class P. The type is already defined. Okay, okay. See, observe team. I have a class called P and I have a class called B. Inside my class, this is class P. This is class P. Okay. Now I have a class called B. I have a class called P. As of now, these two are independent classes. Inside my P class, I have a test P method. Inside my B class, I have a test B method. Now tell me, if I want to execute this test P method, what I have to do? Now this time I want to execute test P method, and tell me the way from where I have to execute, from where I have to call. Come on, Dream. Okay, okay, good, Jyoti. See, if I want to execute this test tree method, even first thing I can create main method here, and after creating create object for P class. From P class object you can execute, but I don't want to. I'm not interested to execute this P class test method in P class. I want to execute here. Now tell me, I want to execute here P class test method. P class, what is the method name? Test P. Now tell me the way. Exactly. Very good, ma'am. Bhargavi garu. So we can create object. The one thing is, first of all, we can create object P equals to new of P. This is a P class object. So using this P class reference, we can call it P dot test P. Right? So nothing great. So we can create object for a class in any class. Right? So yesterday we discussed a concept called, before day we discussed concept called inheritance. So if you don't want to create number of objects, just go for a relationship called inheritance. If I want to make a relationship between two classes, how to make? Using a keyword called extends, right? So can I use the keyword here? So I can use keyword here. So where I have to, after my B class name, here use extends P. Now which is parent, which is child? Come on, doing quickly. Which is parent, which is child? Exactly. B is a child, which is the class which is extend keyword that is acting as child. The class which is after action keyword that is acting as a parent. Now I can access here. I can access my test class. Sorry, P class test method. P class test method with even now with observe with child class object also. Whenever we have a relationship classes, always I can execute my parent class methods, parent class variables with child class object. This is possible whenever the class is having in relationship, right? Inheritance. Now observe team. This is not a great. Now observe. Now here observe carefully. Let me create one more method here. Now this time test B. Now what if I want to execute the test method which is presenting in B class? I want to execute now test method. Only test method. Now this time I want to execute test method which is present in B class. Quickly team. Anyone? Why are you thinking this much team? So we can execute, right? See how we are executing this test B method. Now even this time also we can execute like this because it is in B class. We can execute by using this object. Nothing great. Yes or no? So here, this is what is the output here from where it will execute. What is the output here? It will give you test B because the test sorry B class test in B class because it is in B class. Clear? Let me execute. Nothing great. Just I have declared a test B method in test B class, test P method in P class, test method in B class. For understanding purpose, but to avoid confusion, let me remove this test P. Let me remove this test B. Nothing great. Let me remove this one. Okay. Now observe carefully. Observe carefully. Now I have a method in parent class. I have a method in child class. Now tell me, if I execute from parent class, which method will execute? If I execute my child class, which method will execute? Tell me your assumption. Tell me your guess. This is from P class. This is from B class. Now tell me, so if I call test method using B class object, what is the output? If I call from test method from P class object, what is the output? Test in B class. Observing. See here. Now here this is my parent class object, this is my child class object. Now observe team, let me initially first execute P dot test method. Now tell me here what is the output? What is your guess here? Now with parent class object, what is our guess? Test method from parent class or test method from child class? Okay, we'll execute and see. Let me execute. As of now, just I'm calling test method from with parent class object. Now observe team. Test method in P class because I'm calling with parent class. Right? Now observe here same B dot test method. What is the output? What is our guess here? So anyway, here we are getting P test, right? P class test method. Now observe here what is our guess. Observe team. Run as Java application. See here, there is no any difference. There is no any difference by the time of calling with object. If you are calling from parent class object, it will execute from parent class. If you are calling from child class object, it will execute from child class object, child class, right? And remember here the methods are same name in two different classes. Yes or no? And observe here. So up to now there is no any tricky. Observe here. Observe. See what is the syntax for object creation? Syntax to object creation.
Class name, object name, and new keyword.
Exactly. So the syntax of object creation is class name, object name equals to new keyword and again class name in parentheses. This is the syntax of object creation. See, remember here. So here already we know it, right? Object name we can give anything as of now for creating. If there is a class called A or any class, let's as of now observe. I want to create my child class B class object. So object name, can I give anything? Object name, can I give anything?
Yes.
Yes, we can give anything, right? As of now, let me give B, small b, because so in by the time of object creation or variable, we have to start with lowercase letter, right? B, and here equals to new keyword, right? And for which class we are creating object? What is inheritance ground rule, team? What is inheritance ground rule?
Child class we are creating object.
We have to create object for child class only. If you want to get the fruitful result, you have to create object for child class. Observe team, here I am creating object for which class? Child class. Child class nothing but here what is my child class? My B class. Object creation for child class. Now here observe, I can create like this. B equals to new of B. As of now, let me come to this one, or else let me give this B2. It is getting duplicate, right? Observing. Now I can create for a class. I can create object for a class by using a syntax called class name object name is equal to new class name. This is the syntax of syntax to object create in any class in Java, right? Here, so we can create object for a class in number of ways. We can create object in number of number of types here. So object creation, right? So If there is a class called A, we can create object like this. The first way is we can create object like this. So as of now, my class name, let me take class called A. If there is a, if you want to execute, you can A class methods and A class variables, you can create object like this. A equals to new of A. You can execute like this. This is the first way. You can create object like this. And or else, so if A is having int A equals to 100, this is a class variable, right? So one is a method called, this is a test A method. Test A method. I can execute like this. See, directly without storing the object reference also, we can execute a class methods or class variables. See here. Here I am creating object. After that, you can call a variable like this, or else you can call a method like this directly. This is directly. I'm not storing object here. Here you can call like this test A. This is a method. But here you will get error. You have to store it into one more variable because it's a variable, right? Always variable value storing is mandatory. Method response storing is optional. And one more way, remember team, if the class having relationship here, starting of class name, here you can take parent class reference also. Observe team. Here I am taking B class parent class is P here. Observe. So instead of instead of self class reference, I am taking parent class. Here in my first example, I am taking self class reference. This is reference team. Now see, so observe team. This is we are calling as A here small a is we are calling as object, right? See, if you are going with the parent, see, if you are going with parent class object equals to new child class. Here which class we are creating object? Here which class we are creating object? Here which class we are creating object? Remember team. So always remember whenever your class is after the keyword new keyword, remember always we are trying to create B class, sorry, the class which is after the new keyword. For that class only we are creating object. Blindly remember whenever the class which is having the after new keyword, for that class only we are creating object. We are not creating object for P class. We are creating object for B class because this is the class after the new keyword. Clear? And remember, for child class only we are creating object. And now this time here the object we are calling as reference because it is referring to parent class. Now observe the team. This time if I call B dot test method, which will execute, or else for understanding purpose, this is a combination of parent class and child class, right? Let me call pb dot test method. Here I have a parent class P, I have a child class B. I'm creating my child class object with parent class reference and I'm trying to access test method. Now tell me this time what is the output? Either from P class or either from B class. Tell me team, any guesses? Okay. See, observe team, I am moving cursor to here, test method. What it is showing? Are you able to observe the test method from which class? My test method return type is void, coming from polymorphism package, coming from P class test. It is showing that it will execute from P class. Observe team. Now I am executing. So observe team. So for understanding purpose, I am commenting this, calling these two methods. Observe team. As of now, I am creating object for B class with parent class reference. I'm executing test method. I'm having test method in B class, test method in P class. Now observe. See here. From which class is it got executed? From B class, nothing but child class. But here what it is showing? It is showing that P class. See, whenever your classes having in relationship, if your classes having the same method with same name, always execution priority goes to child class only, because and always execution depends upon your runtime object. Here I am saying that runtime object. By the time of execution, for which class it will create object? For which class it will create object? For B class, right? Because the new keyword for which class? B class, nothing but child class. What is inheritance ground rule? Inheritance ground rule is we have to create object for child class, and we can create object for a child class with parent class reference. Here we are calling as a reference. Now we are creating object for child class with using a new keyword with reference to parent class, and we are storing into one reference that if we call a method with that reference, if your parent class, child class having the same method names, and always priority goes to child class methods and child class variables. But in programmatically it will show you from parent class. But the execution time it will execute from child class. This is very important team. So people may ask you this one, so in different ways, right? Remember, always priority goes to whenever your relationship classing having the same methods and same variables with same name, always priority goes to child class methods and child class variables. You have to create object for a child class with parent class reference. Always priority goes to child class. Nothing but a runtime object. By the time of execution, program consider whether the child class having test method or not. Right? Observe. Now this time, let me remove test method from child class. Am I getting any error? Am I getting any error, team? No, right? So observe the cursor. It is showing test method. Now this time, what is the output? Max, everyone can guess, right? If I execute this program, what is the output? Test method from which class, team? It will execute from parent class, because we have only one class. So we have only one test method which is in parent class. I'm comment out this one, which is the test method which is in child class, B class. If your class having the test method child class, always the priority goes to child class. Observe. Now this time it will execute it from child class. If your class does not having the method same name in child class, and first of all it will look by the time of execution, JVM is first of all it will check whether the test method, this method having in this class or not. If it is not having, then go to the parent. In this also there is no, and again it will check for the method in parent class. If it is having one more class, observe it is having one more class, extends p parent, let me give q, p extends, why it is giving error, let me check. Okay, so it programmatically possibility. So if it is having parent, if it is having, again it is having parent class, and if p don't have a test method, again it will check for the method which is in this p parent, like this. So if you having a relationship like this, class 1, class 2 and class 3, always inheritance, what is the inheritance ground rule? You have to create object for a child, right? And child, new child, you have to create object for new child. You can give anything, right? So by the time of execution, if you call a method, first it will check whether the runtime object is child, right? Whether this child class object having that method or not, having that variable or not. If not, it will check in parent class. If not, it will check in one more parent, like this. Clear? Clear, team? Any doubts? See, this concept we are calling as method overriding. Nothing but method with same name in different classes or two classes. Method overriding. Always we have to create object for which class? Child class, right? So even we can create object for a child class with parent class reference. And this is also calling as a dynamic polymorphism. We'll discuss in detail. As of now, remember, so whenever your child class and parent class having the two method names common method names, always priority goes to child class, right? So I'll tell you a best example, team. I'll tell you a best example here. Example, this is one example. There is a bank application. This is a bank application, right? So this is a bank application which is implemented a method called security method, public void security method, security account security. Let's say account security, right? So this is secure account. Now it is having the password. Now if I want to execute this bank, if I want to execute this method, so I can execute like this, main method, right? So main method and create object for this one equals to new bank, right? So SBI dot account security. Let me execute. Right, my account is secured because it is having the password. Now observe after some years, now I want to add OTP to my account along with password. I want to add OTP. Now this time the people may implement it like this. First of all, they'll implement with parent class like this: public, sorry, class secured account. Initially it will be like this, right? Now bank, now this time password plus OTP, right? See here, I can create object to my bank with the parent class reference. Now if I execute this one, what is the output team? The best example, I don't know whether you are understanding or not. This one is the best example I can say. Now observe team, this time it will execute child class. Always priority goes to child class. Now, so earlier the implementation of the security is only with password. Now this time it is executing password with OTP. Because my bank class, current class is extending RBI. The RBI having security. What is the security? Only the password. Now after a few years, I want to add the security. To get more security, I want to add OTP. Now this time I'm adding OTP by overriding this method. What is that method? Method called security. See, there is an annotation called override. It is an optional. See, earlier also this is account security. Now the implementation is different. So previously I'm having account security with only password. Now in my child class I'm having account security with password and OTP. What I'm doing here, I am overriding this account security. Now if you want again you can override in another class. Let me take one more class. My class name is, let me take a new bank. You should not use this new keyword. Anyway, let me use. There's a one more bank came to market. Now this time again, if you want to override, that should be a child of RBI. Now this time I want to add password, OTP and fingerprint. Now if you want to execute this one, so now this time create this object new bank. Now execute. Now your account security method is overridden to implement such a way that password, OTP and fingerprint. And to override, there is an annotation called in Java override method. This is called method overriding. So this is all because of your requirement, your implementation. See, what is the use of method overriding team? If your parent class, if you are not satisfied with parent class implementation, parent class methods, parent class variables, you can override that method. You can override into child classes. In the child class, we are enhancing the functionality. Yes or no? So what we are getting from the overriding team? Anyway, we are maintaining same method name in child class. So we are enhancing the functionality. Based on our requirement, we can add few more functionalities to our existing methods. Clear what I'm trying to say? Method overriding, method with same name in two relationship classes. What is the use of method overriding? We can enhance the functionality. If you are not satisfied with the implementation of parent class. If you're not satisfied the code of a parent class, if you're not satisfied values of variables in parent class, if you're not satisfied the method execution in parent class, you can override that methods in child class. By the time of execution, you can create object with child class and always priority goes to child class, and the execution time the method will execute or functions will execute from child class only. Nothing but your recent implementation. Any doubts? Please let me know if you have any doubts. No problem. Any silly doubts? So this is optional team. If you are not giving this override annotation and program automatically consider this is a method overriding which is presenting in parent class. Thank you. Thank you. Jyoti, any doubts? Thanks. See, so overriding is a concept. Always remember, if you want to override a method, that should be in relationship. Nothing but the two classes should be in relationship. You have to give like this. You have to give like this parent, right? Let's say one method, and you should have a child extends parent you should have a like this. So if it is a method public void test method and method name should be common, right? If you're not satisfied the implementation, there is an implementation of code, right? Here I'm not satisfied with this code. Here I can override in my child class, right? So here I want to give one more code. You have to give extra code. Here annotation is override. This is an optional. If you give this override or not give, the program always consider this is overriding. Clear team? Any questions? And here always you have to create object for which class? Child class object. Then only it will execute your recent implementation. Clear team?